for about 2 years. Going to do New Game Plus for you guys on the Xbox 360 version. World record for this version is 127.47 by Pharaoh. My PB is... Okay, so this is actually really awesome right now because I literally just got a PB in the practice room. So my PB now is 128.41, which I just did on my last warm-up run. So I'm really feeling myself going into this run, and I'm excited to do it for you guys.
Alrighty.
It's my first marathon I'm running at, so I'm really stoked. Happy to be out here doing this for a good cause. So
alrighty.
Let's get into it. But, okay, so I feel like before we even load this game up, let's just explain something so we don't have to do it in-game while we're trying to explain a million other things. And Joey, or Psycho Ripper here.
Okay, so one glitch we're going to be using like right off the bat throughout the entire
whole game.
For the whole game is it's called the Dittman glitch, and it's basically a glitch that allows Leon to move significantly faster and do a lot of things faster, and it has some really interesting effects on the game. Basically, you just activate it by aiming your striker and equipping a different weapon.
So yeah, we're going to be using that a lot, so I just wanted to get that off the table because there's going to be a lot of stuff to explain like within the first 2 minutes of the run here. So. But all right, we're going to load it up and get this going.
Alrighty. Give a countdown.
Huh? Oh, I forgot to tell for the timer, didn't I?
All right.
I'm like so used to not caring about that because this game is IGT. So let's try that again.
Yeah, let's do that and give a countdown.
All right, so I'll do it for when the game actually loads up. So
okay.
3, 2, 1, go. Wow, I timed that like perfectly for the actual load screen.
Flawless start. Go to All right, so yeah, this is Resident Evil 4. Categories New Game Plus. To clarify what that means, it's just a previously completed file, but right off the bat, we're going to be doing a lot of crazy stuff.
Okay.
And,
we screwed up the first thing, but it's not a major time save.
So yeah, as you'll see, Leon.
We try to do a small time save there by shooting the window also, but I just screwed up my turn. It's not a huge thing.
But now you'll be seeing Leon's running really fast right now.
He's literally speedrunning.
He is literally speedrunning.
Leon is a better speedrunner than me. Look at him go.
This is the Dittman glitch that we mentioned at the beginning. You'll be seeing this a lot, and it has a lot of significant effects on the game.
Including
this case,
enemy dodges.
Yeah, it makes getting past certain enemies significantly easier.
Yep. Like, there's a lot of different enemy dodges you'll see us do, and Dittman definitely helps with a lot of those dodges.
It's a very significant glitch, but now we're going into a very significant part here. This is the village section. Casually, this is one of those longer things in the beginning, but the way it works is you need to kill certain enemies off the bat, and then you will spawn another set of enemies, which he's about to kill right there, which is going to spawn in another wave of enemies coming right through there, and now he's going to end it by damaging himself. And if he did that right, we should get, yep, that's the village.
So why did I damage myself? Why would I do that?
So in this category, we're running it on the normal difficulty, and normal difficulty has a dynamic difficulty system. So basically it
lowers the difficulty in game.
If you suck at the game, it makes it easier. So we trick the game into thinking that. So.
Yeah. So we call it difficulty adjustment, or DA for short. So you'll hear me talking about that a lot through the run. So at the beginning of the run, I'm going to need to take some damage for the difficulty to be lowered for a specific boss fight to be easier. So I'll talk about that more later. So we're going to damage ourselves here as well, but that's not the primary reason for the damaging. We're blowing ourselves through a cutscene by doing this. This is like a small glitch. It saves us like 3 seconds. Shoutouts to Jonathan Strickland, who discovered that glitch pretty recently. It skips like a whole Indiana Jones boulder chase scene there.
Don't worry, there will be another one.
There will be another if you're curious to see what it's like.
But yeah,
that one we can't skip.
Yeah, you see he's using the Chicago typewriter. It's one of the many kind of super weapons you get with New Game Plus. They all have different uses and different applications. The Chicago typewriter is pretty useful because
for hitting stuff quickly. As you see here, it's knocking stuff out quick.
As far as the weapons he has in his inventory, it's the fastest to aim, so it's very useful in that regard.
Okay, so here's a beautiful and awful thing about this game, and by that I just mean awful, is that there's a lot of QTs. All right, so I'm going to talk a little more about the Dittman glitch here. It can also be deactivated by certain things. One of those things includes kicking open doors. So the reason I've thrown this grenade just now is to blow down 2 doors so that I don't have to kick them open. Also, being hit by enemies is going to deactivate my Ditman. Certain cutscenes will do it, climbing up certain ladders. There's a lot of different things. So now this whole area here in this canyon is going to be like the first real example of the fact that this game is extremely RNG in the respect that enemy patterns are very random. So in this area, it's not usually a big deal, but I just want to bring it up because there are going to be a lot of points in this run where we're going to be having to react to those random enemy patterns to be able to get by them. So it's a very reaction-heavy game. And now we're going to see a couple things. I'm going to try to do an enemy manipulation right now, and we'll have a lot of that too. There's going to be a lot of enemy manipulations in the game. And I got this one. So I entered that door in a specific way to get him to point so that I wouldn't have to have the risk of him grabbing me and wasting time. And now we're going to imbue some invincibility frames by jumping over that sandbag just as the dynamite explodes. And that's another thing, is this is a Capcom game, so there has to be invincibility frames that we can abuse.
Yeah, you basically activate the invincibility frames anytime you do things like open doors, do specific climbing animations, and it kind of just makes it fair so you don't just get hit by no nonsense.
Exactly.
But it can also be abused in the same regard.
So also that hit we took there was more intentional damage to lower the difficulty. And we're going to be taking one more hit here pretty shortly, and that will be enough damage for us to get what we need out of it. So what lowering the difficulty really does, basically, is it primarily lowers the enemy aggression, but it also changes certain things in game. So there are certain points of the game where like certain enemies won't actually spawn because of the difficulty being low enough. And that's one thing we're going to take advantage of. But this specific sequence of damage we're taking is to cause the first boss of the game to take less damage and make that fight go quicker. And also make it a more consistent fight, because normally it would be an 11-hit fight, and this is going to make it a 10-hit fight. We have to hit him with like harpoons. He's like a big fish monster. And the difference between 10 and 11 hits might not sound that significant, but it is, because reducing it to 10 hits, removing that 11th hit actually completely eliminates an opportunity for him to give us bad RNG. And there's going to be a lot of RNG with this boss. He gives us a lot of different patterns that we have to deal with what he gives us. So I guess I'll have Psycho Ripper talk a little bit about that when we actually get to the fight.
That's the merchant, by the way. We're never going to actually talk to him in this run.
Don't need him.
It's a shame.
Yeah, he's a cool guy, but, you know, we already have all our stuff. We're already decked out with all this cool gear.
Yeah. So one other thing about the Ditman glitch that isn't necessarily readily apparent is you'll see him switching to grenades very often when he's using the Ditman glitch. That's because you move slightly faster when you have one-handed weapons like the grenades. If you use any of the other weapons in his inventory, it'll still be fast, but not quite as fast. And that'll save a few seconds overall.
It's a slight optimization that it's like we just call it, like I have one grenade in particular that I keep throughout the run for this, that I just call it my running grenade, pretty much. You know, it's just the grenade that I'm always switching to move a little faster. And yeah, it saves a decent amount of time throughout the run to be having that slightly faster movement.
There's one particular section where it's very important to do it with a grenade, but we'll worry about that when we get there.
So right now, I'm going to be... Oh, here's the Indiana Jones, by the way. But I'm going to be entering a swamp where we're going to have to shoot 2 tripwires, and I'm going to try to do a swaggy strat for you guys. So usually people are using the Chicago typewriter for this, that you saw before. But I have the hand cannon Magnum in my inventory, and I'm going to attempt to hit both of these tripwires with one shot from the Magnum. So it's very specific setup to get this. Let's see if we can do it. This looks good. No go today.
What a shame.
It's really cool when you get it. If you miss it, it's not a big deal. It doesn't really lose you much time. And if you get it, it doesn't save you much time. But
yeah,
I can get it pretty often, so I was hoping to show it off, but that's all right.
Yeah.
No big thing.
Now we're going on to the fun part of the run.
Del Run Killer.
Yeah, this is the early game run killer for a lot of runners. We're going on to, as we mentioned, Del Lago. He's a big fish.
So I guess Psycho, just tell them about like, once he dives, I guess tell them about the 2 different dives that he can do.
Okay, yeah.
I'm going to focus for this fight.
Yeah, the first thing he does on the first dive will always be the same thing, so... Or, well, it'll be... Basically, he'll come back up, is what we mean. But there's a couple of different things he can do in this fight, and we really want him to do a very specific thing. See, here... That was
he did a weird thing there as well.
That was really weird.
Sometimes happens.
But this press in particular is really interesting because there's 2 things he can do. He can either come right back up, or he's going to go into a sequence where he dives and we have to wait on him. And luckily, he's going to give us the good pattern. So, yeah.
Oh, nice. We could actually get a perfect Galago fight right now, potentially.
Oh, man.
I just have to throw these harpoons fast enough.
Yeah.
One more hit.
One more.
Nice.
All right, that was a perfect Galago fight.
That's the best pattern you can get. Yeah, if he does a bad dive, that's going to lose us 15 seconds instantly for no reason.
Yeah.
So that's actually really awesome that we got that. So, like I said, if I had to do an 11th hit, when he's diving under there and I hit him with the 10th, that's another opportunity for him to give us the bad dive. So doing the 10 hit over the 11 is actually really awesome, and that's why it's worth it to take the time to take that damage.
Coming up into this next section, he's going to dip into another really useful weapon that you
really
can only get in. Yeah, it's really dumb. It's called the PRL. You actually get this weapon unlocked for completing the game on Pro difficulty. It's got 2 modes of firing. One is a simple flash, kind of stuns enemies.
And here's
the second one, we'll let it do the talking.
We'll let it speak for itself. Auto targets everything, destroys everything. So now we're going to do our first major out-of-bounds glitch.
Yes, this is
Let's talk about that.
This is a out-of-bounds glitch that
we're going to try to not soft lock the game. Because you can soft lock the game if you screw this out-of-bounds up.
It's a very risky, but it's...
I shouldn't. I'm very consistent at it. But if I do, don't be afraid. I don't have to do a console reset or anything if I do mess it up. So it's all good. Let's just really make sure we've got it set up good here. That should be all right.
All right.
Nice first try.
Perfect. Yeah, but doing this allows him to skip having to deactivate the waterfall and dodge some enemies. That's only a handful of seconds faster, but it's still faster. So
it's about 11 seconds, I think. Something like. It's nice. It's a decent save.
I should also mention that you can't do that in 60 FPS versions of the game.
Yeah, we're playing on Xbox 360, as I mentioned. So this is 30 FPS. The only versions that have... There's a lot of versions of this game.
Yeah, this game's
But the only versions with 60 are on PC. You can play either FPS. And then just recently, this game was released on Xbox One and PS4, and those are 60 FPS as well. Or rather, I should say, 60 FPS. They're really like 59 point something. And those versions are really changed.
So now we're coming up on the next boss fight.
Very difficult, very technical. All right,
we got it first try. Good job, guys.
Good job, guys. So as you see on New Game Plus, a lot of these boss fights are going to be pretty trivial.
It's actually pretty interesting, though, because that boss fight is really easy on New Game anyways, because...
they're buying a lot of single-fire rockets to take care of bosses.
Yeah. Rockets basically one-shot everything in the game, or almost everything.
Almost.
It's just convenient.
So we do have a $10 donation from Mushroom Soda.
Oh, hey, my boy.
He says, "Good luck to my best friend Carpenter running Resident Evil 4 at an amazing event like this. You've come so far in this game, and I'm nothing short of proud of you. Good luck, and my 5-3 be ever gracious towards you." Shoutouts to all of STR for hosting this amazing event as well. Keep up the great work, everyone, and good luck to all the runners.
Yo, thanks so much, Mushroom.
All right, so this next part is one of the other things about Resident Evil 4 speedrunning is fast puzzle solving. Very technical stuff. And some of these puzzles may have given people trouble when they first play the game, but once you know the solutions, it's pretty easy just to, map it to muscle memory.
Yep.
And get it done.
Now we get the worst thing in the game.
Yeah,
we get an Ashley.
Yeah.
So the premise of this game basically is this crazy cult group has abducted the president's daughter, and we are here to save her.
Yes, and you might be wondering why she's wearing a gigantic suit of armor. And that's because, like I said, we are playing New Game Plus, which allows us to use a special costume, too. And
this is a special costume, too.
Yeah.
Capcom likes silly things.
Besides Leon looking super stylish, it gives Ashley this armor, which not only prevents her from taking damage, but if enemies pick her up, they'll drop her instantly. So it makes dealing with enemies a lot less of a problem.
there are a lot of strategies that we use that are not possible without the armor, so that's why we need it. On the GameCube version, there's a lot of differences in the GameCube version between other versions, and the armor is not in that version, so they have a lot of different strategies for that.
The unfortunate side to this is that you just hear constant clanking over and over again. So
gentleman strats, gotta hold the door open.
What a good guy.
But it's only because it makes us faster. It's not because we like her or anything.
No, because we actually really don't like Ashley.
She can be a little bit of a pain to manage. There are a lot of parts in this game where we have to be very careful with our movement so that she doesn't get stuck on enemies. If she does get stuck on an enemy, she'll cower next to them because that's the only logical thing to do when there's a man next to you that wants to abduct you, is to cower next to him rather than running away.
Yeah, forget the fact that you have a guy with you that has, several thousand bullets worth of ammunition in his back pocket.
Approximately unlimited ammo.
Yeah. This is another great thing about this costume right here.
Oh yeah, Leon gets to hurt his back a little bit. So that guy didn't come up and axe us. That's always good.
That's really nice.
I really enjoy it when he does that. So fortunately, there are some cutscenes we don't need Ashley for, so during those cutscenes, I'll have her wait to spare you from a little bit of clanking.
Now this is the cabin fight. This is a very intense moment in the game, but on New Game Plus it's unbelievably simplistic because you have the infinite rocket launcher. So if you position yourself right, you can just constantly fire in these windows and shoot enemies as they spawn.
Yeah, we're pretty much just going to be like shooting as far outward on these windows as possible, and occasionally helping Lewis if he's bad at his job.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're firing as far out as possible to maximize the blast range and just kill them as soon as they're spawning.
This is really nice because it's 100% consistent. So
on a new game speedrun, the cabin is a nightmare. It's a lot of RNG here.
There's still a lot of strats that have kind of come to compensate it, but there's still points in.
It's still very
it's pretty rough.
Like a lot of really good runs have ended here in the cabin.
And that was the cabin.
All right, so we got a $5 donation from Chocobo Tamer.
Hey.
1 second slower. Thanks for blowing up the wrong turret, Mike.
Thanks, Choco.
So now we're going into this next section, which is technically you have two paths to go. The way we're going is a lot faster, and it also gives us a sequence we like to call the Gigante Rush.
Yeah.
And this is another practical use of the hand cannon in this area, which is the Magnum weapon.
Yep. We get to blast these doors right down because that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, interesting thing you'll notice here, when we use Ditman Glitch, Ashley does not gain the Ditman speed, but it's still worth it because her base movement speed is faster than ours. And this basically means we're unlocking her full speed. And I just fired those random shots there basically to use those as the waiting period for her to catch up.
Yep. And so we're coming up on another section here where we have to wait a little bit, but we're going to have to deal with some enemies. And so we've mentioned difficulty adjustment before, but this is going to be another example of where we can truly utilize it. Yeah, this is the most significant one probably.
We're going to take a lot of intentional damage here. And as I mentioned, your difficulty being low enough in certain areas will mean that some enemies will not spawn. And for the area coming up, that is going to be significant. It's going to make the strategy possible. But I will block these first shots to make sure we don't take too much damage. Pretty much the goal here is I want to take a full health bar of damage, and then I want to take another health bar after healing down to like really low green health, but not into yellow health. Because if I go into yellow health, my running speed is slower, so that's going to mean that I will have to heal again, which I don't want to waste time doing.
The plus side to doing New Game Plus is that he has fully maxed out his health. Throughout the game, you can get yellow herbs to increase your maximum health, but since it's a New Game Plus, his health is already maxed out. So he can take more damage without worrying about going into caution, which is very nice.
So randomly wasting our ammo is also lowering the difficulty a little bit. So that's why we're doing that also.
Yeah, you basically take damage and then just act like you have horrible accuracy. Naturally, the game's going to think, oh man, this guy's terrible.
He's so bad, dude. So that was like actually a perfect amount of damage we took. We're in good shape. So we're going to get to meme a little bit while we wait on Ashley here.
Guy's kind of looking at you funny.
This guy right here you talking
about?
Yeah. You talking this back?
Yeah.
This guy right here?
Oh, man. I don't like
Rip
him.
Merchant. You never had a chance.
All right, so now we're going on to the last boss of the village section, also known as Chief Mendez.
The big cheese.
He is, yeah, the big cheese, but he's going to be...
He's not so big of a cheese when you have a PRL.
Yeah. First, we have to get through yet another QTE.
Like, he's that sandwich cheese slice stuff when you got the PRL. It's small time business. You just zap him and he's done.
Yeah, and so I mentioned there are 2 forms of firing. The charge shot obviously is useful because you can lock on enemies and such, but for certain boss fights, for whatever reason, just the ordinary flash fire from the PRL will kill them instantly.
And an interesting fun fact about that fight is it is actually possible to pick up that key item from him before the game actually acknowledges he's dead. And if you do that, then, so you'll notice we jumped out of that hole in the wall after the fight. If you pick it up before the game acknowledges he's dead, that hole in the wall will not be created and you can't progress. You have to reset the checkpoint.
All right, so we got a $10 donation from Shadow081.
Hey.
He says, Carp, I'm proud to see you at Smash the Record. Remember, 5'4" is your worst friend.
Yeah, 5'4". You guys will find out about 5'4". Thanks so much, Shadow, for donating.
Yeah, seriously, thanks to everyone who does donate because it is going to a great cause.
Excellent cause.
Also, put your donations towards Assignment Ada.
Yeah, if you're going to donate for RE4, donate toward the Assignment Ada donation incentive and make me play a terrible category.
Yeah, now we're kind of finishing the village section. The game's kind of broken up into 3 major sections, which are the village, the castle, and the island. The village is incredibly short. We're going into the castle section next, which is the big chunk of the run rate. It's basically where most of the run is.
All right, a little bit more memery coming up.
Yeah, remember that Ashley has this full suit of armor.
Important.
It's very important.
Important. So this is the one time where we're going to be happy about the suit of armor.
Ashley has a full suit of armor that can take a hit from a truck, yet she'll still crouch in fear with a guy who has a
She's
torch.
a trooper, man. She just tanks it.
Yeah.
And as we said, they can't carry her away either. So
now we're going on to the castle.
So the best way I like to describe this game to people is the village is like kind of has a survival feel to it. It's like a cool atmosphere. The castle is just like stupid. There's just silly stuff here. And then the island is like, the game starts to have more of a like true horror feel for a little bit, and then the island gets really dumb.
Yeah. So this section right here, he's using the dimming glitch basically to run past all these catapulted fireballs, and if he runs fast enough, he won't get hit or staggered by them. However, he does need to kill this one in particular so he can activate this crank.
Although an interesting fact on GameCube version, like due to load time differences and stuff, it's actually faster than killing him. What you can do is you can actually hop off that crank and get invincibility frames when the thing hits you, so you can just keep popping on and off whenever it comes, which is like really cool to see. But
yeah, but now that he's fired that cannonball into the wall, the enemies just despawn.
Yep.
They're like, oh, he's in the castle, we gotta retreat.
Yeah, I don't know why that is, but they decided to design it that way. Alrighty. Not much happening here, but I do want to talk about a room coming up. Because this room coming up is going to be, like I mentioned, this a pretty reaction-heavy game. And this room coming up is going to be really the first significant instance of reacting to a random enemy pattern. Because we're going to have a large group of enemies coming at us, and they have a different pattern every time. And I basically have like a second to react to what they're doing and take the proper movement line to be able to get through them, basically.
Another thing is that these enemies in this part of the game also now have new weapons and attacks that they'll do, so it's more stuff to be aware of.
Harder to dodge, really, with these weapons. So let's see if I can get this down.
The most annoying thing that's introduced here is the flail, because the flail is probably one of the hardest attacks to dodge.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I had a feeling he might, but there was really not much I could do.
So the bad thing about enemies that grab you is that if you're not careful, if an enemy grabs you and another enemy hits you, it'll basically take your health right down to right down to the red.
So even though there is a lot of reacting to the RNG, like there is still some RNG you can't do anything about, and in general, that room I just got through, you usually can do something to get through the pattern, but I think that was actually one of the rare instances where there was no way I wouldn't have gotten hit by that flail, because he swung really early. And there's just simply, if he swings that early, you can't get by. But if he had swung later, we definitely would have gone right by him.
So now we're going to be introduced to a new type of enemy in the castle. It's not going to be much of a threat on this this category. Sorry, I almost said difficulty.
Another thing that is really trivial on New Game Plus, but a very cool strat here used in New Game using the rifle that I find really enjoyable. So now we're coming up on the water hall, and if you've played Resident Evil 4 before, you probably remember the water hall. This is another area where there's going to be some RNG, but most of it we can react to and deal with. And this is also where you're going to really see why we need Ashley's armor. Exhibit A. And there will be further examples of it.
One other thing to mention is when he took his damage in the previous chapter to adjust the difficulty, it was mainly one thing in particular is in this room. If your difficulty is low enough, you will get archers spawning, or there are archers that normally spawn at the top. If your difficulty is low enough, they won't spawn at all, and that just makes this room a lot easier to deal with.
Oh no!
Wow.
I wanted to knife his head and then kick him. So now I gotta get these guys out of the way here.
Yeah. Again, just more practical use of Ashley.
Oh, that's an example of the RNG that you can't deal with. Like, usually you'll be okay. They're giving me a rough time. They're not happy about it.
This is a
really bad water hole. But yeah, like usually you'll be able to slip to the right side and she'll block all the shots. But sometimes they'll be really close to the wall like that and grab her. And the idea here, too, is she'll usually be able to block any hits for you while you're on that crank also. Sometimes not.
Also, the lower difficulty here is noticeable because if your difficulty is high enough, there will be other enemies that spawn once the bridge goes down. But this next part in particular is...
We just got to wait through it.
Yeah, this is the time to donate towards the cause.
Definitely.
Because there's not a whole lot going on here. But I will say...
What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, I was going to say, like... Even though we're getting a little bit of bad RNG, like I am recovering well from it at least. So like the game is actually giving us a really good example of like how there is RNG, but how you can also deal with it. But yeah, if there are any donations, this would be a great time actually. I'm gonna take a little extra damage here too for the difficulty. This guy will hit me.
Oh man.
All right, that's good. Because we get a full heal right here.
Yeah. So. And unfortunately, there's no way to speed up this process. The only thing you can do is just prevent Ashley from, getting grabbed. But I mean, if you let Ashley get grabbed when you have the PRL, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah, there's really only one guy we gotta worry about that's gonna maybe grab her. There goes Insane Bolt. And now we just gotta wait for Ashley to finish doing her thing. And
this is kind of a nice breath of fresh air because the first half of the water hole is honestly one of the trickier parts of the run. And that's kind of interesting because it's tricky both for New Game Plus and for New Game. I'd say they're both pretty hard for different reasons, but getting it down and knowing what to do is a pretty tricky thing to do. But it's fun once you know what to do. Also, look, his arm is just violently shaking while he holds that.
So yeah, we get to make some funny gestures here in our downtime. Very important strat.
It's actually AI manipulation. But as annoying as Ashley's armor is, this is a really good time to utilize the sound effects that she makes when she steps, because as you saw, you're just counting. If you count the amount of steps, it basically lets you know how early you can enter the door with Ashley right behind you.
Just like basically get the minimum spacing for it to allow us to proceed. And now we get to lose Ashley for a while, thank goodness.
Yeah, it's nice. But unfortunately, we trade that off for one of the worst enemies in the game.
Very RNG enemy. These first couple aren't really going to be so RNG because we're going to manipulate them, but in general, they're very RNG. So you want to talk a little about that?
So the way these enemies work is they have a certain lunging attack they can do at you, which will make you stagger. But if you are facing the camera away from them, they won't actually do that on you. Now, keep in mind, if they do actually start doing it towards you and you adjust the camera, they'll still hit you. But this is just kind of a way to get around their attacks.
Like, there's a couple of them that it'll guarantee you can get by them, like those first three that I got by. Like, there's a few that are guaranteed to get by if you execute properly, but for the most part, like, these guys are going to do some dumb stuff. Yeah, so with that said, we're going to use a flash here for some extra safety.
These no-vistadors aren't too hard to deal with, but
so right there, that's another thing. They do that one attack where it'll give you a kick prompt. So I was looking out for that because if it gives you that, either you kick him or he kicks you. So I have to watch out for that and react to it if it comes up. All right. And now we're going to not die. Not get greedy. Let's just take no chances and not run into a blade of death. That would be cool.
All right, so we've got a couple donations. $5 from Sleepwalker92 says, it's great seeing you guys on the stream. Proud of you both. Good luck on the run, Carp. We have a $50 donation from Audio7.
Hey.
He says, I am so proud of you, Carp, and am glad to call you my student of the game. Show them what Christian streamers are all about, and good luck.
So one thing I will say right in that room is he threw a flash grenade at the beginning, which stuns all the enemies down there, but that also prevents a cutscene from triggering, so it saves a good amount of time doing that as well.
So I want to give a huge shout out to those two guys, Sleepwalker and Audie. They are awesome people, other runners of this game, and they supported me a lot when I was getting into this game. I'm really good friends with them, so shout outs to them.
They're all right.
So he gets to do a funny thing here. And the archer almost ruined it for us. So we burn him in the middle of this cutscene. Otherwise, you would see where it's showing us, he would be running away from us up there. But we're able to use that incendiary grenade to burn him during the cutscene. And fortunately, the archer didn't troll us. He almost ruined our ability to do that exploit.
Yeah,
if he shot us, I wouldn't have had enough time to do it. Those two archers, they didn't do anything there, but don't be deceived. Those two guys are really good at their jobs. They're the best archers in the Resident Evil series, those two. I've had times where I kick the door open up top, and he just instantly shoots me the second I open the door.
All right, so we have one more donation. Okay. $10 from Extreme Lampshade.
Oh, boy.
Says, hey there, Carpenter. It's great to see you running Resident Evil 4 Smash the Record. You've come a long way from when you started. Think we'll see Maxi skip? Also, thanks to Smash the Record for holding this and supporting such a great cause.
That was a good adjustment.
That was amazing RNG.
Yeah.
So right there, that enemy does not usually kick that door open. So I reacted to that by, normally I would blast down those two guys by the chest with my striker. But since he opened the door for me, I was able to use a flash and both have him hold the door for me, so I wouldn't have to kick it, one, and two, so that I wouldn't have to deactivate my
yeah, that was some incredible RNG right there.
Like, that's the thing with this game is that, like, there's a lot of different stuff that can happen, a lot of random factors, and you need to always be ready to basically take advantage of good things when they arise and detect bad things when they're about to happen and do what you can to make them a less serious situation.
All right, so this is a hedge maze. It's nothing special once you know where to go.
So shout outs to Extreme Lampshade also with the donation.
Oh yeah,
another good friend of mine. The whole I gotta give shout outs to like the whole RE4 community. I have so many good friends that I've made from this game, and it's awesome to know all you guys.
They're all really good people.
And also, you you heard a donation from Audio 7, and he was my teacher for this game, really good friend of mine, and I'm going to call him out right now on something.
Oh, man.
And I'm going to call him out and say, Audie, you better make it to Smash the Record next year so that we can run Resident Evil 5 co-op.
You heard it here, guys.
Because he is my co-op partner for Resident Evil 5, which I also run.
Yeah, so that was the hedge maze. Again, if you know where to go, it's incredibly easy. Those dogs are really terrifying looking, but they're really easy to just run past.
Nah, man, they're fine. They just wanna hug Leon and give him licks. They're actually super friendly. They just look menacing. Frankerzy, Frankerzy, Frankerzy.
Yeah, so this is actually the shortest chapter in the entire game. There's not a whole lot that happens here.
I don't know why this chapter isn't part of the previous one. But one cool thing is going to potentially happen in this chapter.
I really hope it happens.
I hope so. So there's 2 shield guys in this next room that might kick down a door. If they do, I have a strat I invented that I'm going to attempt to use to basically be able to slit by them without really having to deal with them.
These are official Carpenter strats.
And like these 2 guys, it used to be like pretty random on if you would get by them or not, but this new strat makes it like, I would say 90% consistent. All right, so they're going to kick it. Let's try this. All right, we got it. Cool.
That was nice.
So basically I angled myself left so that they would like not be aggroed as soon and not swing as early. So that allowed me to get right by them.
All right. Just broke Ashley free, but now we have to fight off some enemies. So this next chapter, we're going to be taking out enemies with Leon, but we're going to be switching to playing to Ashley here shortly.
And that's going to be, we're coming up to a really boring part in the game, actually. Pretty soon here.
But in this section, there's also something we can do to utilize
some funny
Ashley's
stuff.
armor, which is
First off,
great.
that guy gets a nice treat when he opens the door.
Yeah.
And where's the key? Okay, there it is. For some reason, if we shoot Ashley with that, it speeds up her getting up, so she gets that door faster. And I damaged myself there again
it's like
for the difficulty, but mainly it's not a big deal to take damage there either, because we actually get full health regeneration after this Ashley segment, so it's just free difficulty adjustment. So like I said, there's really not going to be much happening for like the next like over 10 minutes. So if there are any donations, this is like an amazing time to read those out.
All right, so we do have a $5 donation from Call Me Zero. It says, big shout outs to the Resident Evil 4 community and the Carpenter for teaching me how to run this game and helping me improve my time. You're awesome, Carp. Smiley face.
Thank you, Zero.
Dude, he even had the smiley face. What a
yeah,
guy.
He even got the smiley face, my boy.
So this part like is pretty boring in the speedrun, but I will admit casually this part is one of the more interesting ideas because it basically takes away all these guns and stuff you have, and you're basically stripped down to, just not getting grabbed or hit by enemies. So that's kind of cool, but...
And another thing that if you've played this game, you probably got stuck on this puzzle for a while, and I'm about to make you feel really stupid. It's literally a clock. So, yeah, the first time I played the game, I couldn't figure this out for hours.
Yeah, it took me like 30 minutes.
When I learned the speedrun for this game, I saw this puzzle, and I was just like, you have to be kidding.
Yeah, some of the puzzle solutions are hilariously simple.
Like, we actually didn't mention it, but we had a puzzle earlier where the combination for it was literally 1, 2, 3, 4.
All right, so here's another use of Ashley's armor. These QTEs you would normally want to dodge so you don't get hurt, but it's actually faster to get hit. And since you don't take any damage here, you don't have to worry about Ashley dying, so it's faster to just get hit by them.
Free time save.
Literally free time save.
So yeah, pretty much if there are any more donations that come up, feel free to go ahead and read them, because
donate towards Assignment Aid. I promise it'll be worth it.
The next chapter I'm doing after this is the longest chapter in the game. It's like 10 minutes long, and not only is it the longest, but it's the most boring chapter in the entire game. There's very little that actually happens in it. So really good time for donations.
Hey man, there's a couple cool things that happen.
There's like 2 in the span of 10 minutes. Yeah, actually, exactly 2 neat things that happened.
Alrighty, now Ashley is reunited with Leon. Oh boy. We really missed her.
No, we didn't. Oh, actually, we're gonna do a little fun thing here.
Are we gonna get it this time?
Wait. Yeah. So there's like a funny spot on the floor there where if you hit the wait follow button, you can get that double wait. Don't know why that is, but it's
for the record, this is the part of the game where the architecture of the castle just stops making any sense.
This is the part where you realize the Salazar family is messed up. Because, I mean, it wouldn't be a castle without a lava room with some dragons, right? We got to throw that in there. So yeah, we got some of that going on. We're going to have some other funny stuff happening in this chapter, too.
One thing about the dragon statues is if you do shoot them down, they do trigger cutscenes, which you can skip anyways, but it's just a time saver to not have to worry about that. So he aims down when he was on that rotating platform just to kill enemies in front of him exclusively and not have to deal with the dragon statues. And then conveniently knocking down a statue lifts up a ladder from the lava. Brilliant design.
Really good, really good.
It's kind of considerate because they're kind of just like, you know, hey, if they get past this thing, you know, you might as well just give it to them.
Make some funny gestures at that guy because we have time.
All right, so we have a $5 donation from JC Strickland 89. Hey, the Carpenter 93, you the best, Bob Dole.
Wow. There's literally nobody else in this room that has any idea what that means, but I really appreciate that, JC.
And now we get to turn the castle into a theme park.
Yep.
I think that would be a free opportunity for, you know, Salazar to, you know, booby trap that.
You would think.
You would think.
Like, this man did really not think this out. He had so much to work with, and he just didn't. Instead, he's just out here trying cheap tricks with lava rooms. And death car drivers that hide behind walls.
You'll see.
Don't spoil it. I'm just giving the premise. I might let that cutscene play, actually, just to show them how ridiculous it is. Although, I want to, but I might not, because actually, like, this is a pretty darn good run right now.
Come on, man, do it for the kids.
For the kids.
So this next part, the main goal here is you need to collect 2 goblets, I think they are.
Yeah.
And that'll progress to the next part, but that's literally all there is to it. You have to solve some puzzles.
Do some things, push some stuff.
See, he's pushing these in a particular way and making Ashley stand there.
Or not stand there, I guess. I didn't hear her not wait.
I mean, I guess that's what happens when you're the president's daughter. You get a little rebellious.
I guess so.
Towards authority.
Nah, I just legit didn't hear that I didn't have her wait, actually. So that's no big deal. All right, I'll at least let this cutscene play for a moment.
Yeah, because...
So there's going to be these 2 dudes, right? And they spent their whole lives doing this. There they are.
Just conveniently.
So they're just kind of there, like they're just behind a wall, no exit or entrance. It's like, how did they get back there? Were they just born there? Like, what is happening?
I like to think actually, just like
actually, what is happening? I can't knife this off.
Yeah, that was interesting. But I like to think that they were just, you know, guys trying to break free and escape the underground, and then just like, oh man, we're free, and then Ashley, you know, Leon just shoots them.
Sad day.
That'll ruin your weekend.
Yeah, it's not great.
All right, so as I mentioned before, taking damage here is actually faster. Luckily, like I said, because Leon has fully upgraded health, this doesn't really do anything to Leon at all. You're still in the green, which is the important thing about taking damage there.
Especially since it's free difficulty adjustment additionally, and also we get 2 green herbs in this room, so that's just going to bring our health rate back up anyway.
So those armored enemies are actually pretty cool. You're normally supposed to shoot their head and then a Plagas appears, but the PRL just kind of makes short work of everything.
Just like everything else.
Yeah, just like everything else.
All right, so time for the first out of 2 cool things that are in this chapter. Get to do a nifty thing here. It's not really too difficult, but it's very satisfying. What's up?
All right, so we
I
have.
knew I was going to pick that up. Oh.
Sorry.
That's my bad. You're good.
We have a $5 donation from Rob, and he says, "Glad to see you running this at Smash the Record, Carpenter."
Thanks,
so,
Rob.
Yeah, this is another instance of the no Vista doors. This one's not too bad, but
Don't say it.
oh, sorry. Yeah.
Don't.
I won't say anything until it's over.
Don't let them make us know one time. All right, so it went fine. Like, usually this particular no Vista encounter door is usually not an issue.
Oh,
but as I was about to say, sometimes they'll jank you out, and that one almost did. I didn't know there was still one alive.
Yeah, and that room in particular, no Vista doors learn how to fly, and it changes everything about them.
It's kind of awesome. Yeah, like that room usually isn't bad. It usually goes about like that, but you don't want to sleep on it because sometimes you just get a really jank pattern and they can do bad things to you.
Alrighty, so this part's
straightforward.
Pretty straightforward.
Very self-explanatory.
He is aiming that in a specific spot so he can knock wooden planks out of the cogs because all these cogs and gears need to be rotated with a switch at the top, and you can't activate it until all the wooden planks are taken care of.
That's actually a good thing to mention in general is the PRL is extremely overpowered, but not all of these PRL shots not all of them are brainless.
Yeah.
Like some of them you do actually have to be positioned properly for it to do what we need. Because it is a little bit broken, and the targeting system on it can be funky.
Let's see how well these archers are getting paid.
Not very well.
Yeah, these guys are doing terrible.
Well, the thing with these archers is they're a little RNG, but as long as you take a correct movement path, they shouldn't be an issue. Now, just have a little dodge to do down here as long as he doesn't try to grab really quick.
Like that?
So. Yeah, he was ready, man. I was ready, but he was ready. He was more ready than me. Sometimes that guy, like, just goes in. He's just like, yo, it's my time. It's time to do it.
Alrighty, so this is a pretty scary bridge, but not for long.
That guy tries really hard, I give him credit. Sometimes he gets really close.
Yeah, and since we haven't really killed enough enemies already with the PRL, let's just do this here too, why not?
Kill 2 guard doors, not a problem.
You kill 2 guard doors and you break open the doors in the next area. It's kind of nice.
So finally, we're almost done with this amazingly boring chapter. My least favorite segment of the entire game, easily.
It just drags on for a bit too long.
It really does. The pacing of this game is not awesome.
Yeah, however, in the new game speedrun, this is actually where you would be able to buy the striker first, which is where you would originally, in a new game run, be able to do the Ditman glitch.
For the first time.
But of course, this is a new game plus, so we can just do it from the start, which is really nice.
So, this is the end of the chapter, but we get to do one final cool thing before we leave it. We actually do get to do something neat here. Small glitch. So we're going to be getting some QTEs from a new boss in the next room. And because of the Ditman glitch, we're basically going to be able to trick the game into thinking our positioning is different than it actually is by stepping back slightly when we get those QTs, and we pretty much won't have to actually do the QTs, provided I execute it correctly. The timing's a little rough. A little too soon. I'm going to reactivate Ditman, even though it's not worth it, just so I can show it to you, which I didn't get to because that one is
yeah, the timing,
kind of hit or miss when it's an A and X QT. So
the timing's a little bit strict. It's a little bit harder if you're playing it on a 60 FPS.
He's giving us a hard time, dude. He's not okay.
He's not really mad.
I'm upset I missed that first one, though. My timing was just off.
Alrighty, but now he's actually going to fight us on the ground. And, yeah.
And we'll do funny gestures at him and move along. So that was rough. We lost a lot of health to that.
Yeah, that was really, really awful.
Like the L and R one is easier. The A and X one, you just got to hold back and like it'll usually work, but sometimes it still hit you. And you could kind of see the glitch still, like even though my timing was off, because like it didn't hit me right away, you know? Like that's what'll happen if it's the timing's just a little off, is like it'll look like it's gonna happen and then it hits you. But still doing really well here. I mean, that's really like the first error we've had in this run, actually.
Yeah. So now in this section he's going into is another great use of the infinite rocket launcher. There is a boulder that is in the way that you normally have to do a series of things to get a stack of dynamite.
Well, not normal. Well, yeah, normally.
Yeah, normally. But
normally in a casual play.
Yeah. But because we have the infinite rocket launcher, we can just, you know, clear it out with other explosives.
So the GameCube version of this game, on NTSC, you can't actually blow that boulder up, which is interesting. Specifically GameCube NTSC.
Only version of the game that you can't do that.
This is a pretty cool setup here. Our positioning is specific to where we can hit both these guys straight off. But yeah, with that previous room, I just want to make a quick note about it because it's pretty neat. Like, so since they can't blow the boulder up on that version, there conveniently happens to be an out-of-bounds glitch in that room that they use to skip it instead.
Right, now this is...
Final Novi Store
This is
encounter.
the last area of Novi Stores. This is where... I'm not going to say anything, actually. I don't want to curse you.
This one is usually not a problem because we're going to use some safe strats with the PRL here.
Yeah, but if you're going like super optimally, there is a very high chance that this room can kill your momentum.
And it's not worth it. Like, the safe strat is the best strat here. Like, I would be doing this even in a world record attempt. Because it makes the room very consistent, and it really doesn't take much time. And I'm going to give right now a shout-out to Skrillo, a very new RE4 runner, who found an awesome setup for a PRL shot right here. Let's see if I can do it right. There we go. So as you saw, that hit, like, everything. So we used to have to do 2 separate shots there. But he, like, accidentally found this awesome setup to where we can do 2 shots in one there, basically.
I love these strats that are found by accident.
Yeah. So now I'm going to try to do another skip here. If I move quick enough, I can get it. I should be good. I just got to mash fast enough to jump down.
You can get it.
Yeah, we're good.
All right, sweet.
So if you're not fast enough there, like, you can get crushed by that pillar, but because of our Ditman speed, we were able to completely skip those pillars.
Should also mention that this is one of those instances where having the one-handed Ditman is very significant to be done because you can't do it when you're holding a two-handed weapon.
Well, you can, but without a grenade, it's like you maybe have a 3-frame window to do it. It's pretty rough. So, like, your jump downs and everything need to be right when they come up and stuff. So it's a pretty cool thing. Like, there are a lot of glitches and exploits in this game that are only possible because of the Ditman glitch. So I really like to refer to the Ditman glitch as a catalyst glitch. Like, there's a lot of stuff that's only possible because it exists.
The gateway glitch.
All right, so I want to mention a certain enemy down here. He's just an ordinary Ganado. But I want to mention him specifically because, as we said, when you're playing this game on 60 FPS, there's a lot of enemy differences. But for some reason, there's one particular enemy in this mines that sometimes he'll come out of nowhere and he'll behave as though he were on 60 FPS. Like, it's really weird. Like, you sometimes can't dodge him the way you would normally dodge enemies, and he just turns around and axes you. It's kind of funny. So let's see if he shows up. Here he is. That's our boy, but he didn't do it today.
Nice.
He didn't 60 FPS us. If he did, he would have like 180 turned with that axe and whacked me.
Yeah, that enemy just... He has a mind of his own. But
it's only that guy.
It's only it's only that
guy. He's special. He has special eyes.
But you mentioned 60 FPS, so
there's
a
transition.
Very significant difference between specifically the Steam version of this game on 60 FPS versus any of the other versions of the game. Is you can actually skip this minecart section by going out of bounds. However, It
not on 30
only
FPS.
works on the 60 FPS version on Steam.
Which was like a big shock to us because prior to that, all glitches were only 30 FPS. So it was really bizarre to us to discover an exclusive 60 FPS glitch.
Especially one without a bounce properties like that.
And this is actually, it was really awesome for us as a community because Minecart is, as you can see, a really boring auto-scroller with nothing happening. And we've always wanted to be able to skip this. And we found a way, which was amazing. And it saves like almost 2 minutes. It's an enormous skip.
Shoutouts to Morse and...
yeah, Morse and Frenchie.
Yeah, Morse and Frenchie.
Frenchie is not a speedrunner, but he's the one that discovered the glitch, and Morse is a very excellent new game runner who figured out how to do it consistently and everything.
His reaction to it was priceless.
All right, here we go. Swag Strats, huge shout out to Extreme Lampshade.
Nice.
Extreme Lampshade invented that.
Yeah, this is just... all this stuff gets skipped when you do...
have a little fun with this guy.
Wow.
Give him the rough time. Poor guy really didn't deserve it, but...
I mean, realistically, none of these guys deserve it. This is kind of against their will.
They really don't. I mean, you know, they didn't want this. They didn't want to be controlled by some crazy cult, but, you know... this cult's out here and they're like, hey, we got this parasite. You're going to do what we want. You got to make your own fun on Minecart, dude. There's nothing to do right here.
You got to love,
make your own fun.
Auto-scrolling minecart sections. The most necessary element of game design.
Here's a funny thing. Like, Leon does like a funny crouch every time he knives.
You know, I never really noticed that until you pointed it out.
I just noticed it recently when I was screwing around on Minecart. He's just like, Like, all right, Leon, you do you. All right,
any other donations, if they're available, by all means.
For sure.
And if there are no donations, you guys watching, donate. It's going to St. Jude. It's a great cause.
Yeah, fantastic cause that we're out here for tonight. I'm thrilled to be at this event. Really glad to be doing this for such a good cause.
And of course, the best way to end a long auto-scroller is to add QTEs.
Is by Leon being Superman and jumping across a 30-foot gap.
And catching that really, old-looking plank with one hand.
Also, huge shout-outs to the ghost Ganado that was in the minecart with us. You heard a Ganado scream when we fell. That's just a thing that happens sometimes, even though there's no one in there with us.
I feel like the game just kind of assumes you're going to have a Ganado with you.
It's weird.
So yeah, that's the minecart section.
Yeah, so there will be a couple... There's one more auto-scroller and additionally one other boring part of the run coming up later. But for now, we're going to get into the main meat of this run. Like, this is the chapter to me that the run gets really, really serious. Like, this is where things get exciting to me. It's like the next couple chapters are pretty fast-paced. And they're also going to have some really cool out-of-bounds glitches.
But first, we got to get through this.
Yeah, that shot we just fired right there was extremely intentional. That's an enemy manipulation that we use to get a guy on the opposite side of this room to start climbing a ladder. And if he doesn't do that, then we're going to jump down over there, and he's going to just whack us.
I also love how you're shooting that guy and hit him in the head, and he's completely unflinched. While
yeah, I couldn't get him, dude. That's the guy, like climbing up right there. So now things get silly here.
Yeah.
A lot of statues just going to come to life real quick, and we'll deal with that. Castle continues to make perfect sense. All that good stuff. If I could just hit this lock, that'd be cool. That lock, for some reason, is like... I always have a hard time hitting it. All right, Leon's going to be Superman again. You ready? He's also going to clip through our bridge because we hit the QT so soon.
Yeah, this QT in particular requires you to mash incredibly fast. Alrighty. And another QT.
Yep.
Can't get enough.
Chuck full of them. So, coming up soon after this sequence here, which is going to be pretty trivial. Well, I'm not going to say trivial yet. There's one thing that we might have to react to. So let's see about that. It's going to be a piece of dynamite that's going to be tossed. Depending where that lands, it might be an issue. Okay, it landed in a good spot.
Nice.
Kind of good spot. I had to wait for a moment.
Yeah, I was worried you were going to flinch there.
And sometimes he'll throw another one here, and that's a huge issue. But now this part's pretty trivial. This part is very challenging on New Game. On New Game, they have to set themselves up with a striker on this elevator, and there's going to be enemies dropping in. And on New Game, they would have to set themselves up very specifically to where when they land, they can fire the striker immediately and blast them off the sides of this elevator. But here it's trivial. But anyway, I want to talk about this out-of-bounds glitch that's coming up right after this. It's the hardest out-of-bounds glitch that we have to do in this game, and it's going to allow us to skip an entire boss fight. And that saves us a lot of time, because the boss doesn't take long to kill, really, but we also have to sit through a cutscene of his death, so it makes this a nice little time save, but it's a very precise setup. Basically, we're going to set up on a very specific pixel to where we're going to jump down from one wall, and it's like there's like a corner in the wall, and we're going to basically fool the game into thinking we landed on the other corner of the wall, and that's going to allow us to float out of bounds, run through this boss's body, and just leave the room. So I'm definitely going to have to focus for this. I'm pretty consistent with it, but I'm not making promises because it is hard, and even the best runners screw this one up sometimes.
I want you to suffer just like Ashley.
Should be good. Nah. Okay, yeah, so we just fell normally.
The plus side to this is if you do mess it up, you can reload the checkpoint and do it again.
Yeah. It's like a 12-second time loss, which is unfortunate, but it should be. Oh, come on, dude. It's not. Yeah, I'm getting greedy, though. It's like a sketchy setup.
I thought you were about to say it's not that hard.
I'm getting greedy here. I gotta take my time. But you also can't take your time here, because, like, oh my god, the Buster is coming out. The Buster.
It's the one rule, don't be a Buster on stream.
Yeah, sometimes you just can't do it. Oh, come on, dude. I gotta freaking get through this. There we go.
There we go.
So there you go. That's unfortunately gonna really kill our pace. This was a nice run.
The other interesting thing about that skip is if you do go back in that door, the money for where you would fight the boss and kill him is there.
The money just spawns anyway. And on New Game, they go right back in. They got to take that. Man, I'm actually really upset that I busted so hard on that glitch. Not even because I busted on it, but like this run was nice, actually.
Yeah.
And that's going to kill our pace a little. But hey, that's not what's important. The important thing is we're out here right now playing video games for an awesome cause.
There we go.
And that's pretty cool. Like, it's amazing to me that I'm able to fly out here and use my skills in a video game to raise money to help St. Jude's. That's amazing, and I'm really grateful to have this opportunity.
So, in the previous chapter at the end, we did go out of bounds to skip the boss, and now
more out of bounds.
We're going to do it again to skip a part of this level.
Major skip here saves about 45 seconds.
Yeah, and this is, again, another glitch that you can't do in 60 FPS.
Yeah, you just run through this mountain, not a thing.
Yeah, you see all that stuff in the distance, that's what we're skipping.
Yep. So, pretty much big mirror puzzle over there we'd have to deal with. Bunch of enemies there and everything, so this just brings us right into the tunnel where that area would normally end.
Which, so in case we didn't mention it, this is the island section. This is the last third of the game.
Yeah, and personally my favorite area, except for the last chapter of Island.
We'll get
You've
into
heard
that.
us mention, oh, rip that guy, by the way. That never gets old. The last chapter of the island is not great.
That's a good way of putting it.
It's the chapter 5-4 that you heard some people mentioning in the donations. We'll talk more about that later. I don't even want to think about it right now. It's not a good place.
You don't think about it, it just happens.
Yeah, you don't want to stress about it until you're there.
Also, it's a pretty important section here.
Yeah, we're gonna do a thing.
Most arbitrary jump scare in the entire game.
Just kind of run past him.
The funny thing about that part is if you do go into that area where he jumps out, Leon's just kind of like, what was that guy doing in there?
Yeah, right? Like, what? I'm actually very proud of the first time I ever played this game casually. I actually reacted to him busting out and shot him with a shotgun. Very proud of that.
All right, so this is another pretty cool little skip going on here. You see
Again,
these,
possible due to Ditman.
Yeah, these the doors will normally open and expose enemies, but if you run past the door fast enough before it closes, you'll skip having to deal with that. It's called garage skip.
I actually equipped the wrong grenade here. I wanted to equip a different flash grenade to use in the next room, but I'll use a different strat and it should be fine.
Wow, way to kill
or not
the pace
this
of the
room.
run, dude.
Not this room, but a room coming up. More easy puzzles. Well, easy sequence.
There's actually two different ways to solve that puzzle.
Yeah. So, like, I just mentioned with the flash grenades as well, like, we're always really thinking about what we're using in the inventory. We're trying to use everything in a very efficient manner in there to where we're spending very little time inputting in there. So here's a new enemy also. These guys are horrible to try to kill. They're really difficult, like the first time playing the game in a casual playthrough. But when you know how to deal with them, like, oh, didn't step close enough. Didn't give it to me. Like, when you know how to deal with these guys, it's really easy to bait their attacks and not have to fight them. Just run past.
Yeah, normally you would have to get a infrared scope to shoot the parasites inside of them, which is really cool, but it's really slow.
Or you would just have to do an absurd amount of damage to them.
Yeah.
Which there's actually one we're going to have to kill, but a rocket will kill him. We need to kill him for a key.
Yeah, but
So yeah, here I was going to use a flash grenade, but since I didn't equip the right flash, I'm going to have to just dip him through the room. And that should be safe enough. I used to do this a lot.
yeah, it's very nice.
Like, sometimes they'll give you bad RNG, you'll get shot or something, but you can usually get through that room with Ditman. And, like, the reason that I specifically didn't want to use the flash that I equipped is because that's my running grenade that I mentioned. Like, that specific grenade is to stay there because it's one input away in the inventory.
This is a lot of stuff to get around.
Yeah, that, like, there are a lot of rooms like this one that are much more specific movement than they look. Like, if you don't run just a certain way, you can get hit by one of those guys very easily.
And here's the one regenerator we actually have to kill.
Striker's not for him, it's just some free difficulty adjustment while we wait on that key to drop.
Oh, I thought you were double tapping. Gotta make sure he stays dead.
Yep.
I think the best part about the regenerator, though, is when it dies, it, like, pops.
Yeah.
It's disgusting, but it's great.
Yeah, regenerators are not awesome.
But they really just want to give Leon a hug.
Yeah. Neat little thing there. I, like, run behind some stuff in the room so that the archers can't shoot me.
Also, one other thing that hasn't really been talked about, it's kind of a minor thing, is when he goes to certain, like, locked doors to use keys, he will open up his inventory rather than, like, trigger the text to get to it, and it's slightly faster to do that in most scenarios.
I want a YOLO strat so bad, but I can't do it with this amount of health.
Oh. Very nice. Yeah, just one
Oh,
flash.
sweet. I got it, like, secondary YOLO strat anyway.
That's pretty
Normally
nice.
I'd have to kick those guys, but the positioning was good. Here I can do a bit of a risky strat that I usually do.
Yo, that was good.
I usually do that strat. Like, you can throw a flash in that room, but if you position Ashley just so, you can get away with that. So in the first room, it's like a similar thing, but that's really risky. You're like praying to RNG if you do that. And I would have done it just to see if I could show it to you guys, but at this health, I could actually potentially die trying to do that.
Yeah, cool. Some strats are really cool, but sometimes just not worth it.
Not a good idea.
Wait, follow, wait, follow, wait, follow, wait, follow, wait, follow, wait, follow, wait, follow.
Those wait follows actually make him clip forward a little more, which is kind of weird.
Actually didn't know that.
Yeah, like, we just want him to be as far away from us as possible to guarantee he won't be a problem. It's funny, we have so many flash grenades and almost all of them get used in this one chapter specifically.
Yeah, so by flowering the flash grenades in this area, you basically will not have to worry about enemies coming at you for most of this section.
And there's a pretty cool glitch used here instead of flash grenades on New Game. If you don't have a grenade and it says empty, where it shows your weapon display, you can actually get Ashley to crouch by aiming at her with a knife. Oh, that archer though, no scoping. Yeah, the archers are not friendly. But yeah, with making Ashley crouch like that, whoops, you would be able to actually get through this room without the enemy spawning. Because she's the one who spawns them, actually. There's a neat manipulation I just did right there. That regenerator would normally swing at us, but if you use that wait follow to get him to open the door and then run on a specific angle, she'll have him open up the door, and then running at that specific angle, like, for some reason he won't swing at us. And then we're going to have Ashley do this because, you know, Leon can't do that. I mean, you know, it's got to be her, right?
I think it's funny because, honestly, with her armor, she looks bigger than Leon. And he's just kind of like, yeah, Ashley looks small enough to fit through here.
Yep. I mean, I guess it makes sense. Like, in reality, Leon would want to, you know, be there to kill the regenerators if they're still there. But, yeah, so here's our final auto-scorer we got to deal with.
The best part about this is that Ashley now randomly knows how to use a bulldozer.
Just firing off some shots here to slightly lower difficulty again. Because we really don't need as many shots as we have. We try to really optimize the time that we have with the auto-scorers by doing what we can. That was way more than oh, not many of them died, actually. I try to not kill guys here if I don't have to, because we've really only talked about lowering difficulty, but, like, killing enemies and stuff raises the difficulty also.
Yeah, this part is pretty boring. If there are donations, by all means.
Yeah, definitely a good time for any donation rating. The RNG, though.
Game's looking out for you.
Oh, there you go, there you go. There's a guy doing the whirl back there, running in circles.
Here comes the biggest mystery in the entire game.
Yeah, where does this truck come from? Like, he's just like, what's up, dude? I'm here.
Yeah, there's, like, honestly nowhere that truck could have possibly come from, and it's just there.
Hello. Who invited you? I did.
Alrighty.
Alright, so this isn't quite over yet, but we get to actually do something now for a moment.
Yeah, this is actual movement here.
There's another shout out to my buddy Audio 7. Gotta leave those 7 shots in the striker.
I'm leaving it to you.
So here we get to do a neat little dodge. Hopefully I get it. Nice.
Nice job.
That's like kind of weird because there's a lot of enemies swinging in different directions there, so we have to take kind of a specific angle to dodge that. And I didn't get grabbed here, which is nice. Like Psycho had mentioned earlier in the run that if you get grabbed and you're hit while you're grabbed, it instantly takes you to red health. So a lot of times there you'll get grabbed and then hit, and if that happens, we can actually reset the checkpoint and be right there without the enemy spawn. But it does take extra time to load.
Carpenter, I think Ashley has something on her head, like a fly or something. You might want to get that off.
I got you. There we go. Yeah, she doesn't mind that. She's just like,
completely unfazed.
Cool. Oh yeah, funny thing with this weapon, specifically when you're using this costume, the quote-unquote reload animation for it is that cheeky little hat tilt. Now, I only did one so far, right, Seika?
Yeah, that was the only one you've done.
All right, we're going to have to do 3 of these for a very important reason. Very important.
He's Plagas, though.
Yeah, making sure there's no one on my right. Okay, so here's hat flip number 3. All right. Very, very important reason for this, guys.
Yeah.
Super important.
Important. The most pivotal part of the run is happening right now.
Yep. This is like make or break. Here we go. Swag shreds. Saves about 69 seconds. Shout outs to Ari Snow for that one. He was the first one to do that. As you can see, we just like loaded this game full of memes. I don't really know how a survival horror game became a meme game, but we managed.
So now this is 5-3, and this start of this chapter is
the final boring thing in this game.
Yeah. If you love QTEs, then by all means you are gonna absolutely love this section.
Like this part of the game is kind of unfortunate because like you get into chapter 4-4 with the Salazar skip and everything, and it's like one of the most fast-paced, high-intensity action parts of the game, and you get a lot of momentum from those couple chapters, and then you get hit with the truck, and then you get hit with this unskippable cutscene, and it kills all your momentum. So we're gonna have to sit through this here cutscene with a lot of QTs.
Make sure to look out for this first one. Very difficult.
All right, this is really important for anybody in the Twitch chat at home. This guy right here who's trying to kill us in this cutscene, his name is Krauser. Nice to meet you, Krauser.
Oh, nice touch.
So, so Krauser here, at one point in this cutscene, he's going to say something about being American. And when he says something about being American, I need everybody in the Twitch chat to spam a Franker Faces emote called America Bag.
Is that what they told you? You're the one who kidnapped Ashley. You killed John quick, as expected.
It's also like one of the only instances where you're actually going to get any plot context in this entire run.
Yep. It's actually his first appearance in the series, even though their interaction implies otherwise. What do you want? To smash the record, that's all.
Leave Ashley out of this. Oh, I needed her if I said I was trusted.
Like you, I'm American. And it's also Veterans Day. Shout outs to all the veterans.
You got her involved just for that?
The worst part about this being the only plot context you get in this run is that it's the most arbitrary plot twist in the entire game.
Yeah. So like I said, this is Krauser's first appearance in Resident Evil. And we don't find out what the deal with him is until Capcom made a rail shooter Resident Evil game called Dark Side Chronicles. And in that, you find out the backstory of like how Leon and Krauser met.
And that's all we're going to talk about this game.
They used to be partners, and like Krauser, basically when they first met, didn't believe in like bio weapons and all this stuff, and he was just like, "Oh, it's a bunch of crap. Zombies aren't real." And then he finds out that it's real because you go through a bunch of stuff, and then he kind of goes power crazy and starts working for Wesker's, the main villain of the Resident Evil series, and here he is.
Yeah, we won't talk about Dark Side Chronicles anymore than this.
I'm going to take these glasses off because they do kind of obstruct vision. But that's tradition. I needed to do that.
It's so patriotic. I love it.
You knew each other?
More or less. Maybe it's about time you told me the reason why you're here.
Nah.
Maybe some other too.
That's Ada Wong. She's a total mystery throughout the entirety of the Resident Evil series.
Maybe it's about time you gave me some good RNG. Maybe some other time. All right, so right now we're going to be a wizard. Leon's going to become a wizard, and he's going to run straight through a laser that should kill him. There you go. So that's kind of strange how that glitch works. It's like a specific part on the floor that if we go in inventory and equip another item at that moment, for some reason that laser won't kill us. Also, nice flip, bro. This is why Leon's better than Chris.
Whoa.
I mean, I'm a Chris player in RE5, so like I like Chris too, but Leon's the boy.
Leon's cool, but does he punch boulders?
Nah, that's true. But we don't even get to punch boulders in the RE5 speedrun. It's unfortunate.
Oh, wow.
We don't even get to punch the boulder. We kill Wesker too fast. All right, we got another boss fight here coming up. U3 is his name. Stands for Ultimate 3. Doesn't really mean anything. But he's usually not an issue, but he can give us some bad RNG. He might try to grab us. We just got to see what he does.
He's a pleasant-looking fella.
Yeah, he's a... Yeah, you know, he's good looking. So, like, he'll go up in the ceiling sometimes, and when he's up there, he might try to grab at us. Like so.
Oh, man.
And he got me, yeah.
You succeeded.
So, like, the deal with that is I can either just accept it and dodge the QT, like that, or if I'm in Ditman, I can just hope that Ditman will get me through it, which is what I opted to do. And most of the time when you're running at Ditman speed, you can actually run straight through those QTs, but it's not guaranteed, so me trying to do that was pretty much just hoping that it was going to turn out well, but it is what it is. Not a huge thing. He's probably going to grab us again, yeah. And that's also why I healed there, because in the event that I missed that QT, I was at low enough health for his grab to kill me, which would be a massive time loss. You have to redo all these cages if that happens.
So he just fired a rocket at that wall in particular, and that, for some reason, the explosion shattered the switch on the other side and allowed you to get to that button to press. Normally you'd have to go all the way around to get to it, but because of how the explosion works, you can basically get it right knocked off right out of the way.
So this is the only boss that doesn't die instantly to a rocket, but he will die to a rocket and a knife slash.
It's very convenient.
Capcom, why? Like, I don't know why they did this. Interesting fact with this boss also is like that smoke that comes out from his death animation, specifically on the Xbox 360 version, like gives you super amount of lag, so that's why I look down to not lag. It's weird. It's only on 360, just a fun fact for you. So now pretty much we're just looking at having to fight Krauser. And then we're going to be moving on to the final chapter of the game, which is the aforementioned 5-4. And I don't know why I went to Rocket here, except I do actually know. I should just go to a running grenade here, but I was thinking of the next room where I am supposed to equip Rocket.
Would act so robotic.
Yeah, but in a bad way.
Yeah, in a bad way.
It's not optimized. I lost like half a second for that.
Runs over.
Oh, man.
Go home.
Everything is ruined. Everyone go home. All right, so for real here, we're going to knock out Krauser real quick. We got to do a couple different sequences with him here.
If you really want to ruin Carpenter's day, though, donate for Assignment Ada before it's too late.
Yeah, that will be something. If there's donations, it's a decent time.
I have one $10 donation from Luma. It says, loving this run so far.
Good to hear, dude.
Yes.
Glad you're enjoying.
So one thing that wasn't mentioned is you saw Carpenter shoot a rocket into the corner of that building, and the reason he does that is to stagger himself while Krauser throws a flash grenade.
Before Krauser slashed us.
Yeah.
Also, here's another Magnum strat for us.
It's my favorite
Just give
strat
him a good
in the game.
gift. It's nice.
Yeah, that's one of the other strats that kind of incorporated using the Magnum into this, but we're going to need serious time here.
We're not, just silence. It's not that serious. I just need to be able to hear the statue to push it, ideally.
This is also kind of a cool side effect
to
the Ditman glitch, is being able to
through stuff
go through a statue.
So yeah, that was a good push.
But yeah, that Krauser strat's kind of another one of the reasons why Hand Cannon got implemented into New Game Plus inventory.
Yeah, like I didn't mention, but we didn't use the Magnum for a long time. Like there was one day I actually went through this game and basically came up with some strats with the Magnum, and that's the reason it's worth having in the inventory. It saves maybe 8 seconds on the entire run.
Still think that strat's great though, just because it's like Krauser's
it's really
like there,
satisfying.
I'm gonna get you. He's like, no, bang.
It's really satisfying.
It's like that one scene from Raiders of the Lost Ark where it's a guy with a big sword and Indiana Jones just kind of shoots him.
Yep. See, I'm kind of proud of that. I actually introduced the hand cannon into New Game Plus.
Here comes another super difficult boss fight.
Rip Krauser. So anticlimactic.
There's actually a really cool strat you do in New Game to fight him.
Yeah, we actually kill him with the knife on New Game. For some reason, this boss takes a lot of damage from knifing. So we basically, like, bait him into a corner and just frame trap him with the knife. Also, there's a funny audio glitch happening right now of the gate lifting up. So here's 5-4. Final chapter of the game, most RNG chapter of the game. There's a probability, not a probability, but a solid chance that I will get completely destroyed here to no fault of my own. It's not even that hard of a chapter execution-wise, but it's just dumb as far as random factors. So hopefully we get some good stuff.
Yeah, Resident Evil 4 is kind of a merciless game because you have parts in the beginning where your run can end, but there's also the other big run enders happen at the very end of the game.
Showing you right now. The archers are giving me a rough time.
They're not letting up.
But yeah, I'm going to focus for this chapter because you can react to a lot of the bad RNG. So I'll have Psycho talk about different factors that are happening as we go.
Yeah, just
through this wild ride of this chapter.
Yeah, there's so many things that can happen with, you know, the archers, the turrets.
Anything can happen anywhere in this room.
And there's a guy who's really helpful flying in the sky right now. His name is Mike.
By resetting that checkpoint, we despawned everyone here.
Yeah.
Which I actually only did because he shot me.
Yeah, there's a guy in a helicopter named Mike. He might help us out or he might waste our time.
More likely he will waste our time.
Yeah.
There's like 3 different things he can blow up that are completely useless. And there's one thing he can blow up that is a nice time save.
And in case you were wondering why he fired that rocket there, the position in which he shot it basically takes out, or should ideally
takes out one rock, one
turret.
And that rocket I just fired is specifically placed to take out 2 different turrets.
Yeah.
So I hear Mike doing a lot of stuff. I think he's going to do the bad thing.
But what if he does the good thing?
He might do the good thing. But, yeah, no, I think he's actually shooting the thing we're at right now, which is my cue to get out of here fast. Also, we're going to kill this archer because he can definitely cause problems. All right, Mike, just keep doing that. Don't actually shoot anything. Just, where's the, here he is. Yo, what are you doing?
I've never seen him go in
Okay,
there.
he's knocked down. Need to knock him down or he may fire a rocket at me. But I don't know why he was chilling in there. Usually he's just out here. That was funny. Actually pretty good RNG.
Yeah, that
like
wasn't
this
too
room.
bad.
This room is where most of the bad RNG can happen.
All the bad stuff happened in the first half.
Yeah, like, it's just crazy here because there are so many instances where you're climbing up and jumping down. And in all those instances, you have a certain amount of frames before you can actively run again, and you can just get hit during those frames once your invincibility frames are gone. So, but that room went really well with the 2 rocket strat. You can also use a PRL there for a faster strat, but it's very risky. And when it goes wrong, it goes very wrong. Like, you can get messed up enough doing that strat to where you will die. Like, it's very unsafe, so we're not going to do that.
So now we have kind of just one more major obstacle to get through before the run is kind of...
Another very RNG room, and then the run's effectively over. There'll be a couple more irrelevant things after that. So this room, I got to focus for this one, because this room can get intense sometimes. There's a lot of different stuff that can potentially go down here. And the RNG's rough, but in some situations, if you react, you can clutch it out.
The most important thing that he really needs to be careful of here is that you don't want to kill too many enemies. Because if you kill too many enemies in this room, it'll spawn another enemy to change on, and that's way harder to deal with.
So what we did here was the big rush here is to catch those enemies flashed in the doorway, and then we went on at the kick it and deactivate Didman. No archer up here. Sometimes there's an archer up here.
Yeah,
that
that's
just
really
hits
nice.
You. He's awesome. Or an axe dude up there that just hits you before you have active frames. That's always a lovely treat. So we're actually getting pretty good RNG in 5-4 here. I did not expect this. slight execution error on my part in the start with that axe, but that was really nice 5-4.
Oh, yeah.
Overall, like, we got a little roughed up in the beginning, which I'm okay with because you guys got to see that 5-4 can be stupid. But I'm glad that we got mostly good RNG. That was very nice. This is probably going to be a pretty decent time here. Oh, and also, I don't remember if we mentioned or not, this game has an in-game timer, which is the timing method we use for this game. So what you're seeing on the RTA timer on screen isn't exactly accurate. It's very close, though. But we will see what our in-game time is.
And now it's time for the final chapter of the game.
Which is just the boss fight, basically. The final boss. Who is the leader of the Big Bad Colt.
Sadler, right?
Sadler.
Yeah.
Lord Sadler. And, I hate to say it, but he's pretty irrelevant, too. Just give him the zappy gun. And even on New Game, again, you're just rocking him.
Yeah, the bosses are honestly some of the easiest parts of the entire run, regardless of what category you're doing.
Like, all the hardest parts of the run are things that you would not expect to be hard things. So here, I don't need Ashley to be with me. I can reset checkpoint at the end of this area, where our escape jet sea is going to be. And when I reset checkpoint, she'll be with us. That's a little faster. And I'm going to use the Ditman glitch to do a fun thing here real quick.
This is the most important part of the game.
I'm going to do something real fun with the Ditman glitch.
Hang on, sweetheart.
Bye, Felicia.
Bye, Felicia.
So this looks ridiculous out of context as well, by the way. A woman in a suit of armor and a man in a fine suit on a jet ski.
Hollywood's got some crazy freaking ideas.
Also, we got that. That happens when you hold the triggers. So we just got to get through this, and that's the game. So get ready on time.
Is that time?
Time, yeah.
Okay.
Again, the RTA timer doesn't matter too much because we'll get our real time here in a second.
Yeah, I should say that having experience with other Resident Evil games, other Resident Evil in-game timers are very different compared to RE4. Like, RE4's is a little off. Games like Resident Evil 1 and 2 will have like 3-minute differences between real time.
It's 1:30:12 down here.
Okay.
1:30:08, not bad.
1:30:08. It's like I lost a lot of time to Salazar skip. That's a pretty good run. I was hoping to get a sub 30.
Still pretty good regardless.
Yeah, like, what did it take me to get Salazar skip?
It was like 4
tries.
tries.
Like 4 tries. So if you deduct you can deduct like 45 seconds from that if I didn't mess that up so bad. But that's a pretty darn good run. I'm super stoked to have been able to come out here to do this. Again, I'm just really thankful to have the opportunity to help at this event. Huge thanks to everybody running Smash the Record. Huge thanks to everybody helping with the speed running here.
Did we meet the goal for assignment Ada? No, that's fine.
All right.
That's kind of a blessing and a curse.
Big thanks to Psycho Ripper for helping me out with commentary, because this would have been very rough to commentate solo. Again, shout-outs to all my other friends in the RE4 community. Big thanks to all of them who helped me out when I got started. Thanks to them for supporting me through everything.
And then especially
shout-outs to Pharaoh, the world record holder,
I was going to
for this.
say, shout-outs to Pharaoh for just being awesome.
And yeah, I just want to thank everybody who helped with this. Want to thank St. Jude's for being St. Jude's and helping the kids. And most of all, I want to thank God for this opportunity to come out here and use my skills in this game to be able to bring money in for such an amazing cause. And that's just awesome. I'm really happy to be out here doing this for these kids.
I think that deserves another round of applause. What do you guys think?
All right, so next we got
thanks for everyone who watched too. So